Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Matt Duren. I'm a director of platform engineering at KnowBe4. And today I'm going to talk to you about the journey that KnowBe4 has gone through to achieve autonomous optimization through Sedai. We're going to talk about a little bit of context to who I am, who KnowBe4 is, why we went with autonomous, what the implementation of that looked like, some of the results that we're seeing from moving to this fully autonomous design, and what's next. What's next for us as a company? What's next for us with Sedai? So to kick us off, a little bit about KnowBe4. We're the world's largest provider of security awareness training and simulated phishing. And we have received tons and tons of awards for both technical achievements. Most recently, actually yesterday, we just, after a very long process, achieved FedRAMP Moderate. We're super excited to be done with some of the audits for that. We're a Forrester Wave leader in 2022. I don't think they have come out with 2023 yet, but we're looking forward to that. And in February of this year, we were acquired by Vista Equity Partners in a $4.6 billion deal that took us private. So we're now part of the Vista Equity umbrella and just enjoying what they've brought to the table and what they're bringing to our business. On top of all of that, we consistently receive awards for great places to work. We've got ones from Newsweek, and all 11 of our offices across the globe actually received a Great Place to Work certification this year. So we're really proud of the technology that we're part of, but also the team and the culture that we build and maintain as part of that company. We also give back to the community. So this is a really interesting thing that just came out, this holiday resource kit, help you stay safe this holiday season. There's a little QR code there if you're interested in checking that out. It is free and it gives you some just neat resources to check out and keep yourself and your family safe. So at KnowBe4, we have a really specific cloud strategy. We have been, and I believe will always be, completely cloud native as much as possible. We are 100% in AWS. Most of our infrastructure and compute runs in Lambda and Fargate ECS. Our goal for the next foreseeable future is to continue to expand that footprint. We're hoping to add more services, add more customers, continue to grow our products and what we're offering, and we plan to do that all completely in AWS. Especially, we plan to expand how we're using serverless. So we have a really big Lambda footprint right now, and tons of projects that are underway, moving current workloads into Lambda functions, developing new services utilizing Lambda and other serverless services in AWS. We are growing platform services. We most recently released a platform event bus service that started to be used in production just in the past few months. And obviously, we are planning to continue to leverage, and continue to grow the way we are using AI in the cloud, in AWS, in 2023, 2024, and beyond. So we have this problem, we have this challenge, where every year, every month, every quarter, constantly we're adding new services, we're adding new customers to existing services. And we've been on this track of rapid growth for the past many years. So in ECS right now, we're running over 3,000 services. That's a 58% year-over-year growth. And that's concurrent at any given moment. So, some points during the day, we may have less than that, may have up to 4,000 at peak. Different times of day, different services are processing different types of traffic. So during the regular business hours, we may have 4,000 containers serving mostly web traffic, as we are a online training and phishing platform. Outside of those business hours, we may be preparing reports or aggregating our data. Most of that happens in ECS for a lot of our main services. We're also huge leverages of Lambda. We have over 2,500 functions across all of our different environments. That's a 422% year-over-year Lambda growth in terms of invocations. We have over 250 million Lambda invocations every single day. And another major component of our business now and has always been is AI. So one of the first features that we launched that use AI back in 2017, maybe earlier. I actually can't find a date on it. It was so long ago. Was what we call ADA, our artificial intelligence driven agent. That's a piece of software that kind of runs in the background and will allow customers to use AI in their day-to-day usage of our platform. We expanded that in 2018 to include a virtual risk officer, which gives each and every user kind of a score, associates them based on what position they have, whether they've been clicking on those fake phishing emails. We know who you are out there. 2019, we released FishML, which allows for automated dispositioning of emails that are identified as potential phishes. We've also released AI-related features in 2021 and 2023 to help choose content. This year, most recently, we have an internal AI portal that a lot of our actual employees have been using. And we have so much more to come. We're refactoring a lot of these older services to use some of the newer GPT, type models and other sorts of data models that have really advanced in the past few years. We also take advantage of a central SRE team. So a little bit about my background. I'm a director of platform engineering. The SRE team and our developer experience team report up to me. I actually came from the SRE background. I was a senior SRE at KnowBe4 for a few years. And so I've been part of this ecosystem that helped to design and build some of the ways that the SRE team works now with our product engineers. And we've had the option of making changes to this if we want to. We've considered going to a more embedded model. We found that this model of a platform team with a core centralized SRE team providing platform services and then reaching out with ad hoc support to some of these embedded service teams has really been effective for us. Enables those dev teams to work fast, work quickly, without needing to necessarily embed SREs into their teams, which constantly end up being segmented, doing their own things. We keep it all together, and it leads to a really, really contiguous experience for any given development team. So in the past year, you guys all saw the news come out when GPT first launched, when OpenAI started really hitting some of the mainstream news media. And we sat back and took a look at those AI services that we already have and started thinking something's missing on here. We don't have any internal facing AI products. We don't utilize AI to maintain and manage our services or to scale. So we identified some really simple areas, for productivity of our operators, which may be SREs, maybe individual development service teams. I think there's a really good use case for release evaluation. And so we could feed this data into this model and come up with something that would tell us if we release some piece of software that has an issue. And along the way, we really had trouble with this center three things here, what we've picked out as optimization opportunities. So reducing cloud cost, reducing latency, and ultimately providing a better customer experience. That's to me what downtime reduction means. If we're down, our customers are frustrated. If we're up, working well, having no problems, they are happy. And so why would we do that autonomously? Why not just build a team that would take care of and manage some of this stuff? And I think it makes a ton of sense. Doing this sort of work is not scalable. We sit and we try to scale our infrastructure, to scale our software, to build software that will scale to any number of users. But until we started using Sedai, we really had no solution for actually scaling the people side of things, the team. And so we knew we were having, scale in our business. We were rapidly adopting microservices using ECS and Lambda. We actually release a new piece of software on average during the week, every 20 minutes or so. So we have tons of continuous integration and continuous deployment that allows us to move very, very quickly. So the demand from our developers is to not have to wait. It's this instant gratification, and they don't really have the luxury of waiting, spending time doing toil, waiting for a production release to see how something responds, and then turning back around and waiting for some other team to come in and optimize the service for them. We needed something that we could take out of the hands of developers and put into the hands of some sort of other system or agent that would allow us to continue to scale our engineering teams, which is terrifying. So this guy is could be your CTO. He could be your head of product. He could be your head of support. And you come and you're talking to him about implementing this new autonomous scaling feature. And you tell him it's going to be great. Engineers aren't going to touch this stuff. It's just going to happen in production. And he say it ain't so. Customers are going to notice. We have all these different things that could go wrong. We could optimize too aggressively. That results in downtime for our customers. We could have some kind of optimization that impacts production. That results in downtime for our customers. If we have those things, have to pause engineering and have our most senior and staff level engineers go in and intervene. And at the end of the day, the concern and the reason this guy is so scared is because he doesn't want to waste time on toil. So how do we solve that? We took some steps to mitigate what his fears were, what our fears were, and decided we would start small. We would choose a specific set of services to apply this autonomous optimization to, but we would also start with something that was in production. What we actually chose was a service that was being actively developed. It was in production, maybe behind a feature flag, only available to a subset of our customers that are enabled for beta features. But we wanted to start with something not dev, not test, not a lower environment where there's not real traffic coming to it. Even if it's heavily tested by, a software engineer and test team or QA team, we still knew we wanted to serve production traffic through a service that was being optimized by Sedai. And we planned from there to expand that out to all of our development environments for pretty much all of our services. Wait some period of time until nobody noticed really anything was happening, and then open up the floodgates to the world. And if you watched Nate's presentation earlier, you heard him say that Sedai autonomous optimization is actually now enabled for 98% of our services. So taking a look at where we started, we have this little tiny piece earlier, the first half of this year, where we started enabling autonomous remediation. And we put out this timeline and, set to expand that to containers pretty soon thereafter, then look for opportunities for cost savings, and then ultimately to continue on and work more on the remediation side of things. And I'm happy to say today that we have followed this timeline really well. We definitely have not, I think, optimized our optimizations at this point. We've taken a pretty conservative approach to what we're optimizing, what amount of latency we're willing to add to our customers. And I believe that's somewhere around the default 10%. But we're definitely on track and looking forward to what this will look like the first and second half of 2024. So talking about the so what here a little bit. Obviously, we went live with Sedai. We had 0 incidents. We found that we were maybe able to make changes easier, changes that needed to happen on the fly. If we had manual optimizations, we were able to do that without sending it through this arduous code approval and deployment process. And ultimately, what that led to was a up to 87% cost decrease in ECS for our development environment, and a staggering 99.3% cost savings in Lambda, which came out to almost 90,000 days so far. And this is in just a period of about 5 or 6 months. We were hoping maybe 20, 30, 40% cost for ECS and 20% cost savings in Lambda. And if we save latency, that's great. That's a plus. So we're happy to report that we achieved ROI in just 5 months, and Scrooge is very pleased about that. Um, we actually had to borrow from our AWS budget in order to get our finance teams to approve taking on Sedai as a vendor. So it was a big risk that we took, and we're really happy that we did. And I just have a few examples here from the Sedai console. This is the largest percent of resource improvement that we've seen in Lambda. And the hilarious thing here is the memory change that this function saw was just a 50% increase from 128 to 192 megabytes. And that took it from an average response time of 18 and a half seconds to 80 milliseconds or so. A 99.5 duration reduction. And that was accompanied with a 2.3 gigabyte second reduction as well. So we saved 99.3% of the cost of that function. And now our customers are able to get the data that feeds minutes almost faster. And then for the largest money savings, this is a particular Lambda function that serves a really specific purpose in our production environment. We have different production environments across the world. This one is in our largest environment, which is in US East 1. We saw a 31% cost decrease for that function. But again, we saw a 54% decrease in the latency. So we're looking here now, is there some other changes that we can do to actually allow that latency to climb and save even more money? If our customers were not unhappy at 900 milliseconds, well, let's see if we can, have Sedai get us running a little slower again and still saving even more money. And what's next for KnowBe4? We really haven't adopted a ton of the deployment score and deployment release lifecycle features yet. So this is an example that I pulled actually this morning, 8 o'clock. We had a -5 deployment. This was to a production service that was costing $1 and is costing $4 now. So it's very, very expensive. And it saw a little bit of latency increase. Maybe a red flag, maybe not. Maybe the development team was adding some more features to it. Maybe it's still in development. Not entirely sure, but getting that feedback loop closed is going to be our next major goal and milestone with Sedai. So to sort of wrap us up here, I have a recommendation for teams that are looking to go autonomous. And whether you're an engineer that's looking at Sedai or a decision maker that's actually managing the budget for Sedai, just do it, as Shia LaBeouf would say. We've had an incredible journey with Sedai so far. It's been short. It's been very, very easy for us to implement. Like Nate said earlier, we have almost 100% adoption of Sedai in our production environments. So wrapping us up here, we are hiring. A shameless little plug. So if any of what I've said sounds really interesting to you or to a friend, definitely check out our careers page. There's a QR code if you'd like to grab that. And thank you very much.
All right, thanks. If we got time for a couple of questions, that'd be great. And just for the panelists coming up next, if you guys want to grab a mic from the back here and get ready, that'd be fantastic. All right, first question from Tim.
Matt, could you give just a sense of scale of your business? Obviously, you guys are a public company, but just to orient the audience on how big of a company you are, and obviously, you talked a little bit about your environment. That'd be super helpful.
Sure. Yeah. So we were public for a year or two. We IPO'd, I believe, in 2020 or 2021. We were taken private this year by Vista, so we're a private company again, which has been really fun. In terms of the size of our company, that acquisition was $4.6 billion, and we have something like 34,000 customers across the world. So we're seeing tons of growth right now, especially internationally. The US environment is definitely our largest. Just from our day-to-day, we peak out at, thousands and thousands of requests per second. I just saw a metric from one of our platform engineers the other day. We sent our 3 billionth email. and that's just phishing and training related emails. So the scale is just absolutely massive. I think it was about a year ago that we sent our second billionth email. So, and the 1 billion was closer to 15, 18 months after that. So we're looking at sending our next billion emails in roughly the next 6 months, and just seeing that trajectory continue to climb.
Great. And we had one question. See that you're hiring there, so assuming the AI hasn't taken everyone's jobs at KnowBe4 yet. In terms of the role of the SRE, how has it kind of changed with kind of using autonomous to obviously manage a portion of tasks, but presumably not all the tasks?
Yeah, I think the biggest change that I've seen is my teams are able to work on a lot more valuable projects. So there's always a ton of toil, and especially Google calls our approach kind of the kitchen sink SRE approach, where no matter what kind of dirty dish you have, you just put it in the kitchen sink. And we found that to be super effective, but it does result in a lot of toil. So we try to share that load around, but in any given week, as an SRE, you're kind of expected to respond to all the weird, abnormal types of requests that we get from a development team. And by having Sedai in place, we're not just saving money, we're preventing would-be customer problems before they become an issue. That function that I showed the example of a few minutes ago that had an 18.5-second response time. Sure, it's a back-end service, but maybe it's delivering a report that it's now doing in hundreds of milliseconds. Maybe it was trying to gather some collection of data that it needs to send to another service and enable to order enabled to provide this end-to-end service that the customer is expecting to get an email from or a web response from. So they're now able to do that much faster. We're not seeing support tickets as much and complaints from the time it takes to do different things. And it's been overall an incredible journey and very successful.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Matt. Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you
Thanks
so
very
much.
much.